I looked everywhere for the creature Gollum, but the enemy found him first.
What's up, everybody? We are the Real Cinema Squad. I am Ty. This is Austin. And today we are talking about Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. There's been a lot of buzz around this. Is it going to be 2 films? Now we've confirmed it's going to be 1. Who's coming back? Are we going to get Legolas and Aragorn and Gandalf? Are we going to get those same actors back, which most of them have all but confirmed they would love to be in it?
Yeah.
Hopefully Ian can stay alive long enough to play Gandalf.
Yeah.
But we're really excited about these characters coming back. So we just want to talk about expectations for the film. Do we think it's going to crush? With Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson being involved with directing and producing this film, do we think that they're going to nail it like the original Lord of the Rings trilogy? And how are they going to fill the time? So just tell me, take me through your thoughts on what we're gonna get out of this film.
Yeah, I mean, the exciting news is Peter Jackson's back. We all obviously had a banger of a trilogy back in the day growing up, and having Peter Jackson back isn't a guarantee necessarily that this movie's gonna be amazing. Mm-hmm. It all depends on who's sticking their grubby paws in the midst of creativity. But you have somebody like Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson who are veterans of this franchise, veterans of this world. They care deeply about these characters. And just the fact that they want to do The Hunt for Gollum, which is only based off of 12 pages of the Fellowship of the Ring, shows you that they want to fill that gap, but also give you more of these characters, Legolas, Aragorn, Gandalf. And honestly, there's no other reason to do this unless you can get the actors back.
Right.
So my question is how are they going to do this when these actors are a lot older than they were back then? And this is during Fellowship, during their younger years. So, how do you think they're going to pull that off?
Well, they're going to have to de-age him. And we've seen that with Harrison Ford. We've seen that with other actors like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. So we've seen this in Marvel and Star Wars and Indiana Jones. They can do it, and the technology is good enough now that I think that they could do it well. We even saw that with Anakin in the Ahsoka show. So, we can see how they can do it, and they can do it well.
Yeah.
And these actors, they are fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think you could have casted a better Legolas, a better Aragorn, a better Gandalf. Yeah. And obviously, Smeagol, Gollum, Andy Serkis is the best of the best when it comes to capturing that. So, we got the actors. We got the producer. We have all the pieces. I just want to see it to come together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cry when we get there, man. We're going to fill.
You start
the
hearing
seats.
that music playing and Aragorn
I'm
show
telling
up.
you, I'm telling you, it's going to be nuts.
Chills.
And people are going to be cheering.
Yeah.
And I'm just hyped just thinking about it. I cannot wait till 2026. There's going to be some great movies in 2026, not just this Lord of the Rings franchise. We have so much to look forward to, and I cannot wait. But yeah, I mean, they can definitely do it.
What's interesting about this is, like I mentioned, it's 12 pages of Fellowship of the Ring. There's 2 chapters called Shadows of the Past and the Council of Elrond. Mm-hmm. Shadows of the Past is literally Gandalf telling Frodo in the Shire kind of what happened in the past with Bilbo and Gollum. Very brief, kind of all that. Council of Elrond is obviously what we see portrayed also in the movie when they all meet up together in Rivendell. Mm-hmm. But what that scene does not portray is the deep discussion of what happened in the past. Because in the book, Frodo literally questions well, where were you, Gandalf, when Bilbo and all them were headed to Rivendell? And where have you been during these random times that you've disappeared? Mm-hmm. And even Elrond and some of them question it as well. And Gandalf goes through this entire description of where he's been in the span of 17 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, 17 years.
And you have him talk about how he was hunting for Gollum because he was afraid of him getting the ring again. And then more specifically, before he shows up on the Shire in the Fellowship, he's talking about how he literally went to Minas Tirith and Osgiliath and Gondor and all these places, basically trying to figure out what Sauron's next move was, but also making sure that nobody finds out that Bilbo has the ring.
Right.
And then he finds out that there's spies that are looking in Shire for Bilbo. And that's when he basically goes and recruits Aragorn, which is crazy because most people don't know, especially those who just watch the movies, that you were introduced to Aragorn much earlier in the story because he was working for Gandalf to go find Gollum,
Right.
which is what this movie is predicated on. Is that Aragorn goes and tries to hunt Gollum too, and finds out all these things, capture him, and Gollum gets away, and then the elves get a hold of Gollum, get him in prison in Mirkwood, and then Gollum gets away, and then he gets tortured in Mordor, and that's when he gives up the location of who has the ring, which is Bilbo.
Right.
And that's when the entire movie starts and everything we know. And so there's all this description of all these different pieces at play trying to stop Gollum from basically giving up this information. And that's what this movie's going to be about.
Right.
But it's like, do you think they can fill that time with that information?
Oh, they absolutely can. They definitely can. And there's going to be some creative freedom here.
Yeah.
So what I would love is to see some good old-fashioned Aragorn and Legolas just taking down some slicing and dicing, you know, and some good dialogue between Aragorn and Gandalf. Just to have that on screen again is just going to do so much for us as fans of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can fill it with plenty. It's just how they fill it, and ultimately, are they going to be micromanaged, or are they going to have the creative freedom to go back to what made those original trilogies so special?
Yeah. I mean, part of me thinks that Gandalf's going to be the one narrating this to go along with how Tolkien wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't think Legolas and Aragorn will meet in this movie because they're not a part of they're part of the same mission, but they're not a part of, like, together. They don't meet till Rivendell. From my knowledge.
So, from my understanding, Aragorn knows Legolas prior to.
Because of Arwen and.
They know each other
Arwen
prior to the Fellowship.
Yeah.
Like, they already have a relationship, and for a time, Aragorn was raised by the elves. But I know that Legolas, even in the Fellowship, defends Aragorn, and as if they are already.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, they already have a relationship.
Yeah.
So I would love to see them on screen together. I don't know if that's going to be some of that creative freedom, like where they put them together, kind of like where they put Legolas in the Battle of Five Armies, and I'm pretty sure that he wasn't supposed to be there.
Well, let's be honest. Peter Jackson, that entire last movie is made up because the Battle of Five Armies happened in the Hobbit book.
Right.
But the way Tolkien wrote it is Bilbo gets hit on the head with a rock or something.
Right.
Passes out, wakes up, the battle's over.
Right.
So none of that stuff happened in Tolkien's writings. It was all made up for a third movie.
Right. And look, the fan service there was great. Like,
oh, for sure.
When Legolas is running up like falling cliffs.
Like Super Mario?
You know, like Super Mario. Like, I mean, that's pretty awesome. You know, like, did it actually happen? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it was great to see. But I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, fans, at the end of Battle of the Five Armies, which, look, this is all creative freedom, but I'm pretty sure that they tell Legolas to seek out Aragorn. I believe
they talk about the prophecy of the king.
They talk about the prophecy of the king and everything like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of gets thrown together in this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I would love to see Legolas or Aragorn come up against some of the Nazgul again. Like, just some of that creepiness and, like, the more dungeon, like, dark arts type stuff.
Right.
As they're looking for Gollum, I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah, very cool. And man, just to get a little bit more of Aragorn and the Ranger side of him, because he's still pushing away what he's called to be, which is a king.
Yeah, I think we could see some more relationship stuff with him and Arwen too in their past.
Man, I would love that.
I mean, Liv Tyler, she could come back.
She absolutely could. We know that Elrond's not going to come back. Well, Hugo is not coming back. Unfortunately, he's been quoted as basically saying that he's done with the
He's
character.
not a part of that part of the story, though. I mean, he's even one of the ones that questioned where Gandalf was during that time as well. So I don't think they need him.
Yeah. So I do agree with you, and this was kind of be cool. I don't know if you remember, but in The Hobbit, it started off with Frodo talking to Bilbo, and then they went back in time, and like he kind of started to tell his story.
Yeah.
It'd be very cool in that same sense if like Elrond, or they're at the council in Rivendell, and they're like, Gandalf, what the heck? Like, what happened?
Right.
And then he's like, well, actually,
and then it starts off from there.
And then it starts off from there, like the book. That would be really kind of cool.
Yeah, and then I think they could cap it off where it ends at the Shire with Gandalf showing up, like riding his wagon into the Shire.
Yep.
because that's pretty much what happens after they find out that he goes there after he finds out that Gollum gave up the information.
Yeah. So if they could tie that all together,
Yeah.
oh, man, that would be pretty incredible. If we got a scene with Frodo and Sam again, you know, like if they could tie in some of these characters, like bring them back just for like a quick little snippet. You know, we don't even need that long, but just some fan service, throwing some of those beloved characters back in. It's going to be great.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let us know in the comments what you think, what your predictions are, what your expectations are, and are you excited for The Hunt for Gollum? Until then, though, we are the Real Cinema Squad signing off.
See ya.